I first noticed him because he never moved. Every morning on my way to work, he sat on the same wooden bench near the bus stop. Same posture, same dark coat, even in warm weather. His hands rested on a cane that looked older than he was. People passed him like he was part of the scenery, like a lamppost or a trash can. I probably would have done the same if it wasn't for his eyes. They weren't empty. They were waiting. One rainy Tuesday, the bus was late, my phone battery was dead, and the world felt heavier than usual. I stood there, staring at nothing, when I heard a quiet voice beside me. "Rain always smells like metal, don't you think?" I turned. It was him. I smiled politely. "I guess it does." He nodded, as if that confirmed something important. Then he went quiet again. The bus came. I got on, and for the first time in weeks, I couldn't stop thinking about a stranger. The next morning, the bench was empty. For some reason, that bothered me more than it should have. I checked again the day after. Still empty. On the third day, I finally saw him, standing instead of sitting, arguing with the bus driver. "I just need one ride," he said calmly. "I'll pay you tomorrow." The driver shook his head. "Rules are rules." Without thinking, I stepped forward. "I've got it," I said, tapping my card. The old man looked at me like I'd just handed him a winning lottery ticket. "You didn't have to do that," he said as we sat down. "I know," I replied, "but I wanted to." He smiled, a real one this time. "My name's Walter," he said, "and you just bought me more than a bus ride." We started riding together some mornings, not every day, just enough to make it feel natural. Walter never complained, never talked about pain or money. He talked about small things, how coffee tastes better when you don't rush, how cities sound different at night. One day I asked him where he was going. "Hospital," he said, like he was saying the grocery store. I didn't push. Weeks passed. Then one morning he didn't show up. I didn't see him the next day either. Something in my chest tightened. On impulse, I got off at the hospital stop. I checked the front desk, feeling ridiculous. "I'm looking for an older man, Walter. He walks with a cane." The nurse didn't smile. "Are you family?" "No," I said. "Just a friend." She hesitated, then nodded. "Room 417. Walter looked smaller in the hospital bed. Fragile. The cane leaned uselessly against the wall. "You weren't supposed to find me like this," he said softly. I pulled up a chair. "You weren't supposed to disappear." He chuckled, then coughed. Fair enough. That's when he told me the truth. He didn't have much time left. I visited him every evening after that. Sometimes we talked. Sometimes we just listened to the machines breathe for him. One night, he handed me an envelope. "Not yet," he said. "Only after." "After what?" "After I'm gone." I didn't want to take it, but I did. A week later, Walter passed away quietly in his sleep. No family at the bedside, just a nurse holding his hand. I opened the envelope that night. Inside was a letter and a key. The letter explained everything. Walter hadn't always been just a man on a bench. He'd been an engineer, a builder. He helped design half the bridges in the city. The reason he sat at that bus stop wasn't habit. It was memory. That bench stood exactly where his wife used to wait for him after work. Every day for 30 years. The key belonged to a small storage unit. Inside, I found neatly stacked notebooks, blueprints, and one final document. A donation. Walter had left his savings to fund free bus passes for seniors who couldn't afford them. At the bottom, a handwritten note. You reminded me I was still visible. Please make sure others are seen too. The bench is still there. Sometimes I sit on it, especially when life feels loud. I watch people rush past, eyes glued to screens, missing the quiet stories sitting right beside them. Walter taught me something I didn't know I needed to learn. Helping someone doesn't always change the world, but sometimes it changes their world. And sometimes that's everything.